Yeah, yeah, I'm ready.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Trained Bernard for many years and has been with him when he achieved all these great victories. And that, of course, is his trainer, brother Nassim Richardson.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank Richard for that introduction. I've been hearing people talk about the history. I told him I watched Pascal since he was a young kid in the amateur. But there's one other thing we missed here when we talked about this. We have to talk about legitimacy. In today's market, you have a lot of young athletes. They've mastered the art of the stare down. Go on YouTube and go through young guys' fights and see how they do the stare down. When they get to the weigh-ins, they master the art of the stare down. They get up in the athlete's face and they growl and they gorilla and then they do all these various things. They look like I'm just a beast, I'm just a monster. And then in the ring, they fight nothing like that. We're not giving Bernard full credit. When in these years of past, we've seen a lot of young athletes now. If a young fighter today gets an ingrown hair, he quits. They get an ingrown toenail, they stop the fight. You can't have it. Don't let them see blood. And they stop. It's not legitimate. I've seen Bernard Hopkins be blinded. He was hitting the back of the head in the Roy Jones fight. He was hitting the back of the head consistently in the last fight with Pascal. I was almost convinced that Pascal was like, I need the same reaction Roy got. I'm going to keep hitting him until I get it. But I watched these guys at the weigh-ins and at various stare downs. And like I said this before, and it wasn't to be rude. But a guy asked me, was I belittling Pascal? I said, no, I have a great deal of respect for him. Because what's real is real. Pascal proved to me his intelligence when I watched him in that fight. I have to say myself, I'd have been knocked out in that fight. Because if you bring a man that's 18 years older than me in my hometown, I'm going to jump on him like a banshee. He can't make me back up, which might not be the smartest thing. So I'd have probably got knocked out. You know what I mean? But I watched him in Canada with the Ducano fights, the Yankanu, I can't pronounce the young man's name, but there was 2 fights in their fight, and the people in Canada were left with more to be desired. They came back in the Dawson fight, and a lot of people felt Dawson was closing the gap in that fight. So I know Pascal was going to bring his best to the table against Bernard Hopkins, because he's still searching for legitimacy. In the Hopkins fight, now people, well, you saw that for yourself. I'm not going to go into the details of that. You know, he asked me, he said in the 12th round, he kept saying for a 46-year-old man, did not perform well for the 12th round. I said, Bernard, if you'd have been 20 years old in that 12th round, I'd have been proud. And I trained 20-year-olds. I said, if you'd have been 20 years old, 19 years old, I'd have been proud. Go back and look at your DVDs of some of these latest fights and see what these athletes are doing in the 12th round and 8th round. The other thing is, like I said, I would never say anything derogatory about an athlete without any proof to support it. Because sometimes you don't realize when you say something derogatory, and this is just to pass on this to a young man, you don't realize you actually give the man the greatest compliment in the world. See, for you to say, well, dang, Nazim, you look a certain kind of way, and then the way you beat that guy up in the room, I thought you had a back. That's a compliment to me when I come out and I know I didn't have a back. See, because I looked at you, you didn't look like you had a back in the last fight you had. And, you know, I wasn't that impressed with you to think you did something illegal or something wrong. So this is what I'm saying. Let's appreciate these guys. I said it before at the other press conference. Let's appreciate this man while we have him. When we lose athletes, when athletes pass on and retire, then we all want to jump up. We want to have a bunch of ceremonies. We want to hoot and holler, talk about how great they were, how great they were. We have him here. He's still competing at an exceptional level. Let's celebrate that. This young man is going to fight his behind off the 21st because he's still fighting for legitimacy. See, Bernard Hopkins has nothing to prove. And he still proved more to you in the last fight with nothing to prove. This young man has still got to convince his own people. So I'm expecting him to bring his A game. He's a talented athlete, and like I told you before, we're in the era of talented athletes. You know, he's the last of the boxers. the Chavezes, the Ricardo Lopezes. These are the last of the boxers. You know what I mean? Now everybody's an athlete. The guy plays basketball, plays football, wrestles, and happens to box too. Bernard is the last of the fighters. Let's celebrate him while we have him, because there's nothing left. And I thank you for your time and your patience.
De La Hoya, Trinidad, Tarver, Vinky Wright, Kelly Pavlik, Roy Jones, Sean Pascal, beat them all. And what that is, that's true. That is what makes one election. How committed he is to the sport at this age, how he's willing to continue to put himself through this strict regimen and the training camps and everything, just tells you what he is all about. He truly is one of a kind. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to introduce to you, from Philadelphia, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
First, I'd like to confess to Richard about it ain't 4 hours. I want him to come so bad. It's really 6. So I'll pay for the extra 2 hours for gas if anybody go up there. All right? I won't sign a contract. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody, and I also like to say one thing to the media and the people that's been, most of y'all have been following me for many years, the ups and downs and the good and whatever else in the middle. Pay attention. I don't want to pick on them, but in a good way, to Tom Hauser, to the Tim Smiths, the guys that's been around just as long as I've been boxing, even a little bit more longer. Is that because I know what this means to me. Yeah, we got to talk, we got to hype the fight up, we got to do all this, but I fight for different reasons, y'all. And trust me, I mean, to me, making another buck or doing this and all that, there's nothing wrong with that, but trust me, I don't need to box for money. I'm fine. Very fine. But it's something in my demeanor in my life that's different than any fighter that I believe ever walked this land. I don't care whatever. Because when I go back to why I'm fighting, the question I'm asked most of the time, and it's because I feel like no matter what I have in the bank, no matter what I have in real estate, no matter what I have in bonds, that I'm fighting not for that. I've received that. That was a focus point at one time. That was important at one time. And it still is. But it's not as important as why I'm still fighting. That's what y'all should pay attention to. And why I'm still fighting is not because I can't turn the lights off and can't get it out of my system. Because that's what I do. That's who the hell I am. From the streets to the stories that you already know. I'm not glorifying it, but that's me. I just was skillful enough and smart enough and a little bit of lucky enough to be able to transform one stage of my life to the second stage, which you consider the second chapter of my life. It's very hard to be the athlete with a mind like that. What he's fighting for and is trying to get, I've been there, done that. But I haven't got comfortable at the top of the mountain. That's the reason those 20 defenses was made. That's the reason that a decade went by and I slayed everybody that came in front of me. I stopped a lot of great fights, could have been great fighters. The Antoine Nichols, the Robert Allens. He wasn't around then. He was in the amateurs then. Y'all know these guys. But I stopped these guys, the Joe Lipsys of the world. I stopped them from getting with every fighter that come in this game, I think, and want to believe that come in boxing wanted to be what? Champion. Uno. Number one. And the reason they didn't become that is because of me. The reason they become some great basketball players that's considered great in the Hall of Fame but never got a ring is because of Michael Jordan. And he all what he said he is. Fine. The coach can talk. He can say that Nazim, great thing. Fine. He's been with me 20 years. Fine. At the end of the day, he can't fight for this man. And when he seen, went out for Roy Jones, it was the Bernard Hopkins. Yes, y'all, I'm human. What y'all seen with Roy Jones, you hit anybody in back of a rabbit punch. That's why it's illegal. That's why it's called a rabbit punch. Anybody gonna subject it to that. But instead, y'all wanna raise the standards different to me. I'm supposed to be able to fight with one arm. I did that with Antoine Eccles. When he picked me up and slammed me down and dislocated my shoulder on HBO. I got up when I could have stayed down there and got a DQ and took my check and went home. But I got up, didn't I? And I won not only by a decision, I knocked him out. So when a guy like this says to me that I'm eating some kind of candy bar, or I'm watching some kind of TV, or I'm doing something unusual because I show what I've been shown for years, that he wasn't even in boxing. He was in Pampers when I was doing this. And now it becomes a shock. It's unusual, it's strange. And he put allegations out there that I don't want to deal with. But I figure I'll speak about it now. Don't be surprised if he died in May, in that ring. That's how I feel. And I'm taking this anger, and I mean that. There's no quote. This is no fucking press conference to type it up. Don't be surprised if I kill him.
So, long after Bernard Hopkins will be retired, long after, Jean will still going to be world champion. When Bernard Hopkins will be inducted at the Hall of Fame for boxing, they will say he beat Pascal, he beat Felix Trinidad, Roy Jones, Winky Wright, Antonio Tarver, but he had the draw and the loss against the great Jean Pascal. So he is the WBC, the ring, the IBO, the linear light heavyweight champion, and he will stay world champion for long, Jean Pascal.
Thank you, Yvonne. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank you to be here. First of all, I would like to thank Golden Boy, Jim and Golden Boy to make that happen. I would like personally to thank Kerry Davis to put this show on HBO because I think it's the best network for boxing with the best fight and the best boxer. I fought Bernard Hopkins December 18th. That was a hell of a fight. He fought really good. He's a smart fighter. He pretended that he won the fight. Like he used to do. He's always complaining, always whining. Me, I pretend that I won the fight, the close fight. But I'm not a whiner. The judges decide to say otherwise. That was a draw, and I respect it. Because you can never call a close fight a robbery. The judges said it's a draw. I took my pills, I swallowed it, I said that's fine. Let's set the record straight May 21st. But the thing is with this man next to me, it's always somebody else's fault. But I'm gonna tell you something. May 21st, you're gonna blame only me. Because this time that's gonna be my fault. Bernard called himself a legend. He beat Roy Jones. Wow. We all know that he couldn't beat Roy Jones at his prime. That's why he waited 17 years to make the rematch happen. He beat Tito Trinidad. Great. A smaller guy. He beat it Oscar De La Hoya, his boss. Another smaller guy. He had a draw with Winky Wright, a man of his size. He got beaten twice by German Taylor, a man of his size. And one more time, he got another draw with me, a man of his size. So I'm not gonna tell more. Bernard, I'm gonna be ready for May 21st. We had a lot of discussion. He came to my country. He disrespected me in my country. He put his hands on me. He disrespected my people, my countrymen, my fans, and this is unacceptable. He's a legend. He should lead by example. And this is not promotional. This man had a lot of respect for him, but because of all of that, no more respect. Because I won't respect someone who doesn't respect me. And about what happened yesterday, I don't have a lot to say. I never said that he took something or whatever. I was asking a simple question, and he didn't want to respond. But I'm telling you, May 21st, you better be on something, because I'm gonna bust your ass.